Family Day, and also very appropriate for this time of the afternoon, in fact morning, when we talk relationships to put the spotlight on family. Because it's Monday, we are talking relationships, and the Easter long weekend, we are still in it, and hopefully you are enjoying today being Family Day. And while some people may, roll their eyes at the thought of going back home or even spending time with family, many of us can acknowledge that family time, it really gives us the warm, fuzzy feelings. And as it turns out, there are proven health and wellness benefits that goes along with that feeling. Now let's head on over to the streets to find out what family means to you.
On Family Day, we do lots of park runs, park walks, taking my daughter for ice cream, hanging out with my nephew, watching TikToks, doing TikToks.
Yeah, Family Day for us is usually a day at the park, ice cream for the little one, and then maybe mommy and daddy might have their little birth, 1 or 2, but otherwise, nothing too fancy. The simpler, the better.
What we're going to be doing on the day, I'm assuming we're just, going to be together and going to be having some food, which is generally the way to go. So some food and some drinks and some good times.
So Family Day is just time spent with everyone in our family.
On Family Day, it's usually a braai. I mean, I'm South African, obviously. That's what it's all about, right?
Oh, it's all about spending time together, and here to help us unpack all of that familiar bond is clinical psychologist Slindile Mbata. Now, Slee, it's so good to have you back on the show.
Hi, Zoe. It's so good to be back.
Excuse me, and we're talking all things family. Now, for some people, family time gives you the warm, fuzzy feelings. For others, they dread it. But let's put the spotlight on the positive first. How important is family time?
Family time is so important. Our families, it's where we first get our real sense of belonging in the world, is with our family. So it's really, really crucial to be able to spend time together. And I think it's really where we first start to feel a sense of feeling valued and loved.
When it comes to children, they love structure. They crave that family time. And given that today is all about being with family, how important is it for the family to spend that time together?
I would say it's really, really important, to spend time together. And what I do want to emphasize is the quality of the time that's spent together, not just the quantity of time that is spent. So spending time together, doing things where we're actually bonding and building those emotional bonds is absolutely crucial. So I think for any family, that is not time to, take for granted. It's also where we get our first memories of family, and that's the kind of thing that we take with us, well into our lives. Everybody can remember what used to happen when they were a kid. And so it's really crucial to have that time together.
And also spending that time together, it helps you to create good habits. What are some of the habits people, take into life with them?
So I think, there's a lot of crucial life skills that we actually learn from spending time with family. If you think about it, some of our problem-solving skills come from there. If you think about some of the conflicts that one can have when you're sitting across the table, kids wanting to, grab certain spoons, who wants to sit next to mommy and daddy. So it's really critical for developing those problem-solving skills, communication skills as well. When we sit around the table and we talk, listening skills, knowing that, everybody's time is valuable, they're valued, they get listened to. So I think there's a lot of life skills that are really critical that one can take forward.
Well, we are continuing our family chat. Don't go anywhere. We have more coming up on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Expresso. We're live here on S3, and we're talking relationships as we do on a Monday morning. We're talking holidays. We know that they are full of parties, family gatherings, quality time with the people that you care about. But those interactions are not always devoid of drama. Sometimes they can be filled with drama. Every family goes through conflict from time to time, but that doesn't mean that it has to ruin the holidays for you. And now clinical psychologist Lindile Mbata is back to help us deal with our family tension that we might experience over the holidays. Be sure to let us know your thoughts and your experiences on today's topic on our Facebook page, Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. Lindile, what are some of the ways in which people can help themselves mentally prepare for that one auntie or uncle or person that's a relative that's going to potentially ruin your holiday and rub you up the wrong way? Ozokufakela isfutufu.
Ozokuphazamise emoyeni. Yes, yes. You know, Thabiso, I wonder if you can actually really prepare enough for those, you know, those type of people. Yeah. I think realistically it can be very, very difficult to prepare yourself emotionally. But I think it's so important to try and focus on the things that you can control. Yeah. You know, and that's your thoughts about the situation and your expectations. So really focusing on what it is that you have control over, going in there, I think, with a mindset that says, not to say, oh, this is going to be a terrible time because Usman Bane is there, but rather to say, you know what, in spite of this person's presence, I'm going to make sure I maximize on my time with the family.
And we can maybe even delve into some of the very typical examples of how people get rubbed up the wrong way when they go into these family gatherings. I mean, I can think of a few of those where they ask, okay, come on, you are 30 whatever years old now, and come on, your biological clock, we can almost hear it from here. It's ticking so loud. When are you having children? When are you getting married? Those are some of the ways. But what are some of the other common things that come through and people either are ill-prepared for or just can't prepare enough?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you'll be asked, you know, when are you going to get a home? You'll be asked questions about your career. And if you also, I mean, this is a very common thing with university students, you know, when are you going to finish studying? Or if you do have a partner, when are you and your partner just going to make this thing official?
Oh, wow, okay. All right, so sometimes, obviously, people then walk into these environments with their partners, with their, you know, their spouse. So where you take your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend to a family environment like that, you might prepare yourself for it, but it's hard to prepare the next person to have to cope with your own family's shortcomings, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
How must you do that? How do you prepare the next person, your significant other, for those experiences?
Yeah, I think trying to communicate very, very clearly about what to expect. If you know there are certain family members who can be troublesome, rather be honest about it and say, listen, you know, I know we're going to see my family today. I just need to make sure you are prepared for this. So rather have them knowing what to expect than sort of go in and see for themselves. So I think the crucial thing really is going to be the communication between you two. And even if you have tips as well about how to handle that person, how you've handled them in the past, that can be really helpful.
So communication between the two partners, for example, does help, because sometimes you find that you are taking Mtana Bantu into a den of dragons that they may have never experienced before, and maybe just simply are not prepared to have to go through. Arguments. Let's talk about arguments, because arguments can then ensue in these family gatherings. What is the best way to deal with disagreements and arguments in that space without completely killing the entire family gathering?
Yeah, I think, I mean, of course, the best thing that you want to do is try and be as respectful as possible in those interactions. But Thabiso, I think there are going to be times when you really cannot handle the situation or you feel incredibly overwhelmed. And in those moments, I would say, you know, rather find a way to take a time out rather than engage more.
And arguing.
Yes, and really escalate the situation. So if you can just ask for 5 minutes and excuse yourself from the situation, do that. You don't have to storm off, you know, although you can't help it in some situations. But where you can take a break, give yourself just that time out, go and breathe and come back and deal with the situation. But otherwise, you know, you can try and be curious if you can, if you're calm enough, and really say, you know, that's a really interesting point of view. I haven't thought about things in that way. Help me understand how you've got to think that way. So if you can handle it calmly, engage. But if you can't, take a breather.
Yo, Slindile, this is really fantastic, and I'm glad that we have this conversation with you happening on Mondays. Of course, we do know that the best way to deal with it is to really fix it from its core and its root, but we'll be chatting about some more of that in part 3 of our conversation with our clinical psychologist, Slindile Mbata, here on your Feel Good Breakfast show.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
It is Family Day, indeed, a very important one. But funny enough, there are some people that don't always know how to spend quality time together. Now, since it's Monday, we're continuing our love and relationship discussion. And today we are talking to clinical psychologist Slindile Mbata about, she's here to help us with giving us some helpful tips on how we can really include more quality family time into our lives. And what we've done is we hit the streets to find out exactly what your favorite family activities are, and this is what you had to say about it.
Family for me is the foundation of who I am. I am who I am because of who they are.
Wow, the meaning of the family to me is very important because we love and care for each other, especially me. I lost my mother 2013, so now I only left with my dad and my 2 sisters, and here my auntie and my uncle, they always take care of me, so they are my family to me. So I love them, and I really appreciate them.
Family is something that I rate very, very highly. Because blood is thicker than water. I mean, we have friends in our lives, we grow up with friends, but once things really, really go bad, then friends are the first people to go through the exit door, but family members are always there, like they always stick by you.
To my family, just that I love them lots and they're the best, and yeah.
Family is everything to me. I think it's the most important part of life. Family is everything.
Respect your family, live with integrity, be intentional about everything you do.
Special message to my family. I love you, Mom. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me because without you, I wouldn't exist.
The one thing that lockdown and COVID has taught us is that we've got to stay close to our families because before you realize it, they can get taken away from us. So we're going to be spending time together, cooking, eating, having a couple of drinks, listening to some music and being merry.
Oh, listen, absolutely beautiful to hear what you have to say, what family means to you, how you love to spend time with them, and those special messages. But we are here with clinical psychologist Slindile, and we are here to unpack some great tips. Now, I want to know from you, besides dinner time, it's usually a time where people get together, you're merry, you have a lovely conversation. How else can families, put time aside and actually find ways to bond with each other?
Well, Zoe, it doesn't always have to involve spending money also, because I think sometimes the idea is, if I have to take this whole family out, I'm going to have no money at the end of the day. So I think there's certain things that you can do even in the house. You can play board games together, you can exercise together. So it would be nice to do a little Taibo video, to do a little yoga video together. And I think also, you can possibly, even when it comes to meal times, do the whole preparation of the meal together. And also movie nights. You can have movie nights, karaoke nights, but, sort of themed evenings. It doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money, but you can take turns, in terms of who's going to choose the movie, who's going to choose the snacks for us, who's going to prepare the popcorn for us, and make it a lot of fun to spend time together.
Oh, you know what? And I think it is all about that fun element. I know that for some families, especially older family members, the consumption of alcohol is generally, a little bit of an icebreaker, but sometimes that is even, it's a bit of a tradition. But, do you think that there's also a way to help really just to break the ice, especially if family members haven't spent a lot of time together, or there's a bit of nervousness, sometimes there was a bit of a rift in the family and you're trying to now really basically turn over a new slate, clean slate.
Yeah, I think alcohol is, it can be a very controversial thing because on one hand it can help people relax and feel more chatty, but you also don't want it to be sort of the center of, what it actually takes for you to relax. You don't want to be dependent on it as something that helps you relax when you have to be around family. So really food is one of the greatest things that helps when it comes to this. But I think also music can be so helpful. Yeah, music can be one way that immediately immediately, you know, you walk in, it's not a tense silence. You know, people can hear a song that they enjoy. And really, if there are things that people can gather around, activities that they can do together, it's always a great icebreaker.
Play an instrument.
Yes.
I mean, you just sparked a memory. I remember every time we would go on a road trip, my dad had like this little green suitcase that had a bunch of cassettes in it. And he had his favorite ones that he loved to listen to. It always just sparks such positive energy and memories. Now, I know that a lot of kids, especially we live in the digital age, they love to, you know, play on their tablets. So even though there's family time, they're not really connecting with one another. How can, you know, families really get the kids to step away from the tablets and really just engage?
Yeah. So I think one of the things, like I said, doing lots of activities together. I think when you get the kids used to the fact that we gather around and, you know, we look each other in the face and we spend time, you know, finding out more about each other. So really taking interest in kids is one of the ways to do this, to really ask them about what's going on in their lives, about their friends, what they're interested in doing at school, getting them to demonstrate some of the things that they love, showing you pictures and collections of things that they've built up, and really taking the focus away from maybe the things that can be a distraction, like, you know, the sort of the digital stuff, the gadgets. So really, I think engaging more face to face, listening to music together, even if you like the song, getting them to teach you a dance move. So really engaging them in different ways.
And you know what's quite sweet now as well, and really just merging the two, and I'm going back to music here. I feel like today, especially kids being obsessed with platforms like TikTok, a lot of the songs are samples of, you know, great hits.
Yes.
And I think that is a great way to not only teach the young one, you know, that this is the original song, it's not what you think it is. And that's also a great way to bond.
Absolutely. And they also sometimes really love learning the lyrics of songs. Like, what are these people saying? So if you can teach them a little bit of the song, you know, I know this is something that I do with my niece and nephews. They just love it. They absolutely love it.
Well, we love having you here. Thank you for joining us today, Slindile. It was amazing. And if you would like to, you know, seek professional help in dating, family relationships, and any areas in your life, especially the ones where you're facing some difficulties, then you can reach out to Slindile Mbata by emailing her on sli, that's sli.psychologist@gmail.com.